voices recorded. Don't walk outside to avoid being avoided. This feeling that comes with not having a purpose. If I find something soon, maybe I won't feel so worthless. I've always felt this rhythm, but I thought it'd be pointless. Playing music that's for rich folks, not a prophet of poignance. But pointless is a feeling that comes over me often. Though I keep going for a fear of not affording my own coffin. I know I sound sad, but I've got to be honest. It's soothing to me and it helps with my progress. If writing these songs helps me change, then I have to. Not even for me, but everyone that I matter to. I've got this feeling life won't always be like this. My dad said to me, it's your calling, your purpose. Walking through this life like a man with no shadow. Always by myself, just trying to find my way. I've got no idea of how to get this thing started. Looking for a way out never got me by. I'm so scared and I don't know what to do. All this medicine does is hide the truth. How could you be happy if you've got nothing to prove? So get up and get out there, son, what you got to lose. Walking through this life, forgetting strife in the rear view. Don't prolong the pain, I owe myself more than that. If I learned my lesson, could I go back to high school? Tell myself to have some fun, don't be so pent up. I'm so scared and I don't know what to do. All this medicine does is hide the truth. How could you be happy if you've got nothing to prove? So get up and get out there, son, what you got to lose. Hot water. My sights are skewed, forgive me, Father. Sent you a text over dramatic. Got the response I wish I hadn't. I feel ashamed beneath my sleeves. Too much has changed, I have to leave. I love my family, I love my friends. And as for you, some good things end. I've made mistakes, I wish I hadn't. Things don't just change, we make them happen. I proved a point, forgave my father. Became less bitter, cause love is softer. I think I'm going off the deep end. I think I took a left when I should've took a right at the bend. I think I'm looking at the wrong trends. All these different people around me and they're calling me friend. Come on man, let's just pass the time. From amphetamine to weed, all it takes is a drive. And it's alright, I got you this time. Let's just pick up something quick, I want out of my mind. I think I'll look into some new friends. Everyone I know seems to somehow trip me up in the end. I can't wait around until then. I can turn this thing around. I just need a place to begin. Come on man, let's just pass the time. From amphetamine to weed, all it takes is a drive. It's alright, I got you this time. Let's just pick up something quick, I want out of my mind. And life's just a race against time. Try and make something pretty before I die. If I can make a dime off being honest, then I think I'll be fine. Stop stealing written on a little piece of paper. Cold turkey's what I thought. I said goodbye to my neighbor. I'm a little frantic, can't pull you no favors. But I'll smoke all of your weed and leave you with no papers. Smoke around guess I set a new bar. I never get that hurt, I guess you call that good luck. But if I'm writing honestly, I've never felt so stuck. I've been looking for work, but can't get past the loading truck. And school's just not for me, I'm in enough debt from my other bluffs. I can remember the taste of your bottom lip. I know that sounds a little messed up and sick. Can't stop reliving all the things that we did. You probably hate me for being such a stupid spoiled kid. I've tried to move on, write some new songs, but nothing's ever as good as a past. Could be my...
Howdy, howdy, everybody. It is the SchuBros. We are coming to you live on a special night, end of the month podcast, coming to you live here on a Wednesday. It is the 30th of September, which means I better go get a birthday present because tomorrow is my wife's birthday. So I better go buy something here pretty quick. Other than that, guys, we are joined tonight. Kyle and I are joined tonight by some special guests. Kyle, this is your guest, so I'll give you the honor of doing the introduction.
All right. So we've got tonight the Patriot Sisters, which I'll be perfectly honest, that's the only way I know them. They're the Patriot Sisters. I've never actually heard them say each other's name, which probably is on purpose. But they're two sisters who have called several states and another country. So they've experienced the firsthand several different cultures and ways of life. And since they're young girls, they've traveled around the U.S. speaking to women about the value of finding your voice. They've shared speaking platforms with the Chief White House Correspondent for Fox News, NASA instructors, state governors, domestic and international news publications such as SkyNews and NHK World-Japan, as well as many more. They've been classically trained in dance, which I want to see y'all get up on your point, and spent a good portion of their life dedicated to becoming top national competitors in the pageant industry. Kingdom-minded Christian values have been instilled in them since day one. They have watched their generation fall prey to the far-left political agenda and have decided that enough is enough. They believe it's time we rise up, stand tall, and speak truth. This is who they are, unapologetically. Anything I missed there, ladies?
No, you hit it.
Yeah.
Pretty spot on. And we'll let you guys
like
on a little
he read
secret.
it off of something.
That's like Reddit, yeah.
There you go.
So perfect. We'll let you on a little secret. Our names are Christiana and Isabella. So
Yeah.
a little
All right.
secret to you guys.
I'm Kyle, and that Duma Hazel over there is Ross.
And
There you go.
We are not unabashed about telling everybody exactly who we are. So
Yeah.
Just let it all out.
yeah. I own lots of
I
guns.
love it. Take it or
It's
leave it.
fine.
Love
Yep.
it.
Many guns in our repertoire. Knowing how to use
So
them.
guys, for some dumb reason, Kyle's video is jumping on me. So at one point in time,
I'm not worth looking at, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, that's true. So if Kyle is either the whole screen or off the screen, you'll know why. I don't know why, but it's what it's doing tonight.
I'm back.
So I thought I had the bug fixed. I apparently do not have the bug fixed. So here we are. So Patriot Sisters, you girls have been all over. You've done lots of different things. Classically trained in dance. So there's that. Kyle and I shoot a lot. So,
Okay.
not necessarily the same thing, but
A lot of time training and precision in both sports.
Yeah, lot of mechanics, probably to both sports, right? Because people people I don't know that you know that shooting is a lot of just being mechanically minded and being able to hit your points over and over and over and over again. So much so that one of our really good friends is a upcoming Olympian. So let's talk about you guys for just let's get into it. So NASA, world leaders, other things. I mean, what is your values? Why do you believe what you believe? You know, what has made you the Patriot Sisters?
Big question. Well,
Well, we kind of stumbled into this 3.5 months ago. Literally, it was another influencer, a guy named Joel Patrick, was in town. We messaged him,
met up,
and had lunch, and basically we hung out for the day. He came over to the house, and we just chatted, and he really encouraged us to do it. Stop talking and actually put some action behind your words.
So I guess you can call it, he was the last person to actually kick us out of the nest and say, just do it. And then with that night, we opened up our Instagram account and created a very quick, very fast video, posted it with no intention of anything happening. And then within a couple weeks, we started getting real momentum. And
now we're here. But our values, for us, we don't align ourselves with, I mean, we're registered Republicans, but we don't pick based upon a party.
We've always said we don't care if you're Democrat, or Republican, or an independent, as long as you are same policies and share the same ideologies as us, we're gonna vote for you. Now, of course, that's never been a Democrat, probably never will be, but yeah.
There used to be some back in the day, but they're few and fleeting. Tulsi Gabbard's one for me that I don't like everything she says, but she at least, for the most part, hits on a lot of things I like. But
at least I'm not turning off the TV if she's on.
Exactly.
You're gonna push through. You're gonna listen.
And it's not just because she's good looking. I mean, she is, but she actually has.
She has some rather traditional liberal views on things, on freedoms. So she's joined in with Rand Paul just the other day on an internet bill that would basically take control of the internet out of the hands of the FCC and put it just kind of in the hands of the people. And I really like that. And she's come out and said, hey, look, there's some traditional, when I say traditional liberal, I mean people who were more for rights and freedoms and individuality and what we consider today to be conservative values. She has some of those. Now, she also has some values that, of course, we disagree with, like, the right for women to choose. I think the right women have to choose. They have the right to choose contraceptive. They have the right to choose abstinence. They have the right to choose adoption, and they have the right to choose, self-castration if they prefer that. If they prefer to go to that extreme,
or they have the right to choose what orifice it is
Kyle,
utilized.
Stopping you now. So the point there is that
doesn't always have to be the same one that makes children.
Okay, Kyle.
We're just gonna put it that way.
So the point here is that there are people worth listening to. Tulsi Gabbard is at least one that if she's talking, I'll consider her position. But there are other people such as Kamala Harris where I pretty much know where her position's coming from. I know where Elizabeth Warren's coming from, and I know that 99% of the time it's not even worth considering the argument because it's just a waste of my time. So if you guys were to peg, and you can answer individually, of course, because you may have a different answer for this. If you guys were to peg your ideological spectrum on one sitting member of Congress right now, who would you pick? Who in Congress would represent? Who would you say is your ideal representative?
Okay, that's a hard question.
And why is it Dan Crenshaw?
Or why is it Ted Cruz?
Honestly,
no, Ted Cruz is a senator. You said congressman.
I said so. Okay.
He's like, never mind.
There's that. Congress is the House of Representatives and the Senate.
But you
it's
said
a
congressman.
I'm gonna, Kyle.
We'll just put it either side.
Yeah,
Either which way.
put them all in a
Which
bubble.
legislator
Put them in a bubble.
is your ideal legislator?
I don't.
You guys and cheese.
I don't know. Honestly, because there's I hear something one person says, and then, so for example, back in Florida, or he's a governor, but there's just, I don't know.
You're talking DeSantis?
Because,
yeah. I don't know. It's so hard because here's the thing. DeSantis, back in Florida, we campaigned for him actually, and other, people who are running for office. And now that just recently with the whole virus thing going on, he opened up Florida.
Well, first completely. He did some things I didn't agree with.
Sure.
And I was actually, we're not in Florida, but he was doing some things I completely disagreed with, and I was losing faith in him.
However, now
he switched, and I feel like that's what we see a lot happening. They're saying one thing, and then they're kind of backtrack on another thing. So I really can't pick one person. I think they're all screwed up at times, and they're all sometimes they get their gear in check. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're humans. I change my perspective on things, so I respect that.
But I like Ted.
You like Ted Cruz?
I don't know why I like Ted, but I
don't really like Ted.
There's just something about him that I'm just like,
Really?
Something about dudes with beards.
Well, here's the thing.
He finally grew the beard, and he doesn't look creepy anymore. And the dude is constitutionally sound.
Yeah, he is constitutionally sound.
Like Ted.
So
I didn't like Ted 4 years ago.
No,
but I like Ted now.
Who's our favorite San Antonio congressman?
Chip Roy.
Chip Roy. Do you know about him?
So
Chip
Chip Roy
that dude's
is
fire.
so if you want somebody to support, Chip Roy is currently in a run with Wendy Davis, who you might know Wendy Davis as the pink Nike Barbie. She was the one that stood in the Texas House in her pink Nikes, arguing and filibustering a bill that would eliminate late-term abortions in Texas, abortions after 20 months. So that's what she's known for. She's known for killing black babies and shoes made by slaves. That's my favorite thing to put on Twitter ever. I say that all the time in everything she posts. You're only famous for wanting to kill black babies in shoes made by slaves. And no rebuttal from any of her side on that. But if you want somebody to assist, Chip Roy, he's down in Texas 21. Yeah, Texas 21. And he's a very principled legislator. He's voted against a lot of the current stimulus spending that we're doing. He's one of the only Republicans that's voting against it, even though he's in a tough battle and his opponent is hammering him on it. But he is true to his values. He's true to being a constitutional conservative and fiscal. So I appreciate him for that. I've written legislation for him. I've sent him legislation, and I don't work directly for his campaign, but I work with his campaign quite often.
That's really awesome.
Fantastic.
I love people who are constitutionally sound. Like Amy Barrett, love it. At least she said. I don't know a whole lot of her history, but from what she's saying now, I can get behind that.
And I'm looking forward to what she'll do. Like, when it comes to Roe v. Wade, I really hope that there's going to be an overturn of it. So, and if that's the case, to see what her stance on it will be, which we all probably know what it is, but just to see that in action would be
So
exciting.
it's funny you say that because the left is freaking out over her overturning Roe v. Wade without understanding that abortion rights would then return to being a state decision. That every state would then have the right to choose individually whether abortion is legal or not. So Texas, Louisiana, Kentucky, Kansas, Missouri, Georgia, Florida, South and North Carolina, and a few other states all have bills on the book that only take effect if Roe v. Wade is ever overturned to immediately criminalize abortion. But states like California would still be allowed. So you would still allow states like California to have abortion because we can't constitutionally mandate that they can't do it because there's no federal law against it.
Right. And I've also, and as much as it sucks, as much as I wish it could be a national reversal of, Roe v. versus Wade and make it a national,
like on a federal level.
I get the states that have the authority. And that's at least a step in the right direction for me of allowing the states to choose and get back to not being forced to make it legal.
You got to take a step till you get to the end result. And for me, the end result is the federal level. But I'm okay with giving it back to the states for now. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say I am too. And the thing that people don't realize is that she's only one justice for one thing. And the other thing is that she's already kind of come out and said that she's not going to overturn precedent. She's personally against it. She's morally against it, but precedent has been set. So it would have to be a very well-written law and lawsuit to come to the Supreme Court for it to overturn precedent. And now it happens all the time.
You'll see me get stupid looks on my face when Kyle is saying things that are absolutely not true and abjectly bunk, because she's written extensively that she is willing to overturn precedent, that she does not think stereostasis is a reason to keep a law into place, and that she is more than willing to go against stereostasis, and she's written in it in Brown v. Education, in the 3/5 clause, in Topeka versus Kansas, and how those decisions, if stereostasis was kept, if those principles were kept, how we would still have those decisions. So there are times when that needs to be overturned, that there are legitimate times when we can say the decision that was made by the court was a bad decision, and that there are, we can reverse that decision if the decision is morally or objectively wrong. So that is one of the reasons that the left is so hard against her, is that they know, because they want justices that will agree that it's been 30 years, 40 years since Roe v. Wade. It's just, it has to be now. It's the law of the land. It's precedent. And she has said, no, I don't care about it being precedent, or I don't care about precedent so much. I care about making the right constitutional decision.
That's what I was getting to, but okay, thanks for giving me clarity. It's okay. He clarified it. I was getting there, but it's all right. So we've hit on that major subject. The other major subject of the day is, of course, what happened last night, which was the WWE SmackDown presented by the Presidential Debate Forum. What did y'all think of the WWE SmackDown that happened last night? That was, lack of better terms, a train wreck, but that has mostly to do, in my opinion, with the moderation and lack thereof.
Yeah, I think it would only be a train wreck because of Biden and Wallace and their complete gaining up on Trump during the whole debate. Was just, it was disgusting to watch, and it honestly infuriated me.
A lot of people, and I hear a lot of conservatives saying Trump didn't do well, and I completely disagree with that. He was put in a situation where two adult men ganged up and were attacking him, which isn't a debate. That's called an argument, and that's what we saw last night. There was no debating. It was an argument of false accusations, and that was occurring.
Trump held his ground. He held his line, and he held the standard. And so even though he didn't, in some people's minds, even conservative minds, didn't have, amazing comebacks and amazing points and accomplishments he got to talk about, even if he didn't get to do that, I think he did fantastic for what he was handed, because he was handed crap, basically.
And if you hear, if you're out now, post debate and looking back at everything, that was Wallace the whole time was saying, please stop interrupting. He has 2 minutes, stop interrupting. But somebody went back through and they watched it all. In reality, Wallace interrupted Biden 17 times, whereas Wallace interrupted Trump 76 times. So I think, of course, we knew that going into last night that it was probably going to be more of a biased, unequal level playing field from a moderator's perspective, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, people in the chat are going, yeah, Rogan should be the next moderator, but apparently Rogan says they don't need a moderator; they need a UFC referee.
One thing I love, and I think what helped President Trump win 4 years ago, is that in the debates, he has first of all, he wins the heart of the people. Second of all, he has these sly little comebacks or that say, because you'd be in jail to Hillary, or, whatever he says. And we didn't.
Or don't use the word smart with me, Biden, because you don't know what that word means.
You're on number 2. You skipped 2. Yeah. It sounded like he said you are number 2.
Live, that's what I thought it was. But yeah, he said no.
Yeah, but then
Go ahead, all the little things.
The most amazing part of that one for me is that Trump was talking. He was talking to Wallace, and he still caught Biden. It was like,
yeah, we were talking about that
today.
He could have a conversation, and he still got that. The moment it happened. So I would like to see more of it last night.
I call it a total mom move, because that's what mothers can do. They can have a conversation and be engaged with an adult or whatever, and then like know exactly what their little kid's doing that's annoying and they need them to stop. Like I love it. Totally.
So I personally think Trump did 3 things that he wanted to do. He got Biden to say that he is the left, that he is the Democratic Party, which is going to tick off a lot of the radical left, a lot of the far left. He got Biden to disavow the Green New Deal, even though if you go to his website, it says that he supports the Green New Deal. And then he got Biden to go against.
Which Kamala co-wrote.
He got Biden to say that he beat Bernie, and that Bernie, basically he's the anti-Bernie on the left. Which again, Trump told him, you're losing the left. You're losing the left. You can't say these things because you'll lose the left. He just openly dared Biden to do so. Now, I think he
say Law and Order.
Yeah,
say it. I dare you.
Well, my favorite one. My favorite one is how many police unions have supported you, Joe? We'll wait. We got time. I got time. We'll wait. And Joe, we don't have time. We need to talk about something else. And Wallace is just sitting there like, for the one time Wallace didn't bail him out, Wallace just kind of sat there like, all right, Joe, I mean, come on. I mean, he's got you there.
That was funny. The thing that frustrated me and got me into a lot of Twitter fights last night, which I need to learn when to just walk away, is they made me not support, but defend the Proud Boys. It's the last thing I ever wanted to do. It's like, the Proud Boys are a racist organization. It's like, they're led by a black guy. I'm like, come on, man. This is the last thing I want to do is defend an extremist organization. But if you're going to call a spade, at least call it the right spade. Don't call it a club, you know?
Yeah. And I think in that moment, because I've heard a lot of chatter about that, I feel like there's just a lot of confusion that was happening. Everybody was talking at once, and that was just, it was a twisted up moment in the whole 2 hours. But yeah.
What really bothered me is when people continue to say, oh, Donald Trump still won't condemn white supremacy, blah, blah, blah. No, like obviously you don't know your facts because you're still talking about that, because not only did he condemn it 2016, again, same scenario, okay, the debates.
By Wallace.
Yep.
Wallace was, the moderator, and he asked him to condemn it, and he straight up did. It happened in 2017 at a press conference.
He's done it years. And
back in 2000.
Yeah, exactly. He's been doing it for years. But even again, back a couple of days ago, Trump did it with the possible, not just that, but with the KKK and Antifa organization by naming it a terrorist organization. So
that's the second white supremacist group he's named a terrorist organization.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
second time he's done that.
So it was, if you listen to the interchange, they said condemn white supremacy, he said sure. Biden said do it, he said sure again. Wallace said, will you do it? He said sure. Then getting frustrated, he said, okay, name the organization you want me to condemn. Wallace says nothing. Biden says the Proud Boys. Trump says, while Wallace then goes back to engage him, stand by, stand back. He could have, everybody, well, that's not saying stand down. Okay, you're correct, but he's got 2 guys in his ear. He's just, he's already said sure. So he came out today and he clarified himself. I wish, I said this last night, he could have been more forceful. He could have been more forceful in his denial, but at the same time to say that he has not been condemning white supremacy is an abject lie. For Biden to use the very fine people line, which we know is a bullshit lie, and Wallace not correct him there and point out the full statement of that fact. And then the best one for me was when Biden said that Hunter was not dishonorably discharged from the military, that it was administrative discharge. I challenge you to find me anywhere the words administrative discharge in any type of military discharge. An administrative discharge is any discharge that is not a standard honorable discharge. So if you're discharged for any kind of reason other than your contract is over, it is an administrative discharge. So Biden was being
honorable.
Biden was being,
and Joe did a underhanded trick. He tried to change the subject to being about Bo.
Yeah.
His son that is deceased, and trying to get sympathy when no one was talking about Bo.
Yeah.
It was 100% about Hunter. Joe knew that unless he was having a senior moment, which okay is
Or
theoretically possible.
friend in his ear was telling him XYZ, whatever you believe. But
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of debunked too. Though, it's like he had the rosary on his hand; it wasn't a mic.
I
And then
don't know about that though. That's the only thing because I saw that people were like, "Oh, it's a rosary bracelet." So I looked it up and I'm like, I don't know, y'all. Like that just doesn't look right. Especially
I'm a turn to my resident Catholic. Ross, was that a rosary?
So I honestly haven't seen it, but I can tell you that bracelet rosaries are not really a thing because they're not long enough to be a rosary. A rosary is a lot of beads, man. I mean, it's quite a bit. So
I mean, but he's not a really good Catholic, so maybe he only had a few.
I mean, he's basically
he
been
wants to kill
excommunicated.
babies. He's not a Catholic. He's not a true Catholic.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
he is Catholic, but he's been denied communion, which is the same as being excommunicated. He is not in good favor with the church, and neither is Nancy Pelosi. So that they've all being denied communion in the Catholic Church is a major thing. That is something that takes some doing. It means that basically a priest is not willing to hear your confession, which priests are fairly forgiving in confessional.
Yeah, even I'm not Catholic, and even I know that's a big issue.
If a priest if a priest hears your confession and then decides to not allow you to, and I know for a lot of people this is weird because confession is weird to a lot of people that you confess to a priest, but Peter said Jesus said unto Peter, what you loose on earth, what you loose on earth, I will loose in heaven. And upon this rock I build my church. So, that is the credence for the sacrament of confession, that a priest having the imposition of hands from Peter is then able to loose. And so you have a penance so that you go to the priest, you say, hey, this is what I sinned. And you get a penance. You do your penance. It's usually, say a couple rosaries or yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's usually nothing too serious. And then, I can tell you, maybe it's more of a placebo that you feel really good afterwards. You feel like this.
Yeah, I mean, we do the same thing in the service in the Lutheran Church. We all sit there and confess our sins to the pastor as a congregation. As part of the service. We don't do it individually. You are allowed to, though. You are allowed to go to the pastor after the fact and do a confession or a counseling or whatever you want to call it. But
it's not.
That's not.
It's not incognito.
A requirement. Yeah. It's not as a requirement as it is in the Catholic Church.
It's not a requirement in the Catholic Church.
Okay, sorry. It's not
It's just something you can do.
Highly recommended thing as it is in the Catholic Church. So we'll get off of religion. We're here to talk about the other highly polarized thing, politics, and maybe some sports. I don't know about that yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know how much commentary you have, but
it's always fun when people ask me, so what's your show about? It's like, the least controversial things ever, sports and politics, and they just like,
yeah, and weirdly enough, Kyle and I are different religions, so we're both Christian, but I'm a Catholic, I'm a Roman Catholic, Kyle's a Lutheran, so we have very interesting conversations and resolving in that because we grew up Lutheran, and then I converted to Catholicism later. I, until I was about 15, wanted to be a Lutheran pastor and was studying to be a Lutheran pastor, and then decided, I'm gonna switch over to Catholicism. So Kyle's wife,
he got a girlfriend that was Catholic,
huh?
You got a girlfriend that was Catholic.
You have a wife that's Catholic. Yeah,
she is.
So, it's fun, but okay, so let's go back. I mean, let's talk about the dance aspect a little bit because that's kind of an interesting aspect. I mean, Kyle and I, neither of us can dance. We're typical white guys when it comes to that side of things.
it's in there, I promise.
It's there. You just gotta mold it, work with it a little bit.
It's not. It's not one of these things that if you believe hard enough, you can do it. It's not.
Oh,
It's not.
Right.
So,
that's the best I can do.
I'm confused. Is somebody commenting on our show that's not watching our show? Because he keeps talking about the Bears.
No, he's talking about the Bears. He's been here before.
Oh, okay. I remember who he is now. Let's say, Nick Foles, who's from Austin, Westlake High School, went to the same high school as Drew Brees. There's your little tidbit fact for the day. Interesting little fact. Anyway.
And neither one of them went to a Texas school.
Neither one of them went to a Texas school. That is correct.
Yep, that's true.
Well, it's like the tight end for the Texas Longhorns is a twin brother of the quarterback for the Baylor Bears.
Oh yeah, I did know.
That's
I did know
Cade,
that.
Cade,
I knew
Cade,
they
and
were
Case
close.
Brewer. They both played at Lake Travis,
Okay.
and at UT offered them both. They both got scholarship offers from UT, but which one's the one that's at Baylor? Did not get a quarterback offer. He got a linebacker offer or something. So he went to Baylor because they offered him a scholarship as a quarterback, and of course now he's a starter and he's actually pretty good. Anywho, back to
There you go.
dance. So what type of dance are you classically trained in? Because there's multiple dance types that you could be classically trained in. There's ballet, there's others.
Well, keep on going. Keep on going.
Foxtrot, saramba,
Ballroom.
Oh, now we're in the
ballroom.
ballroom. Okay.
Well, basically, I
Waltz,
mean, we
polka.
danced professionally for 13 years, mostly in ballet, of course, because that's the foundation of all dance. So you don't really get a choice. You have to practice and learn that skill. But ballet and then contemporary was our second favorite that we spent a lot of time with.
Basically everything except hip hop. We're
And tap.
tall.
And tap.
I feel like hip hop's awkward when you're tall, so I tried to stay away.
It's not a good look.
Stay away from that. So we danced all growing up. That was our thing.
Yeah.
Didn't do any other sports other than dance and pageants. So the typical girly girls.
Yeah.
I'm smiling because
But we
Kyle
never
did tap
did
dancing for a while.
competitive dancing. You what?
And
Someone-
our sister danced, and I got roped into doing a tap dance for one of their performances.
Oh,
It
that's
was
so sweet.
That's
Really
awesome.
weird. You said you're tall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall are y'all?
5'10".
Okay. You can't tell by their
No, I
lives
just
how
love that you
tall
just
they are.
went straight to changing the subject.
I
we
got
danced
to.
in
I
it,
ain't talking
so-
about my tap dancing, man.
Come
I don't
on,
even
tell them about you
remember
wearing
that.
a tutu and you're tap dancing.
I don't even remember it. That's how long ago it was.
Hey.
I blocked that memory the hell
Oh
out.
yeah, I
you know?
gotta find the video.
I love it. Run with it. I love it.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
so we did that. We never did competitive dancing, like the whole dance mom thing. Never did that. We just were classically trained to go pro.
Yes, that's a little bit of on the pedophile scale, isn't it?
It is a little bit, yeah. My mom was never comfortable with that idea anyway, so we never did it. Plus, we
Never had a time. We traveled a lot growing up. Our parents always worked from home, so we were always on the go.
always.
And then as we've gotten older, we've not danced as much, and we started doing more prophetic dance. So in the church, I know people hate or love that, whatever.
So we did that, and of course pageantry. We did that for 13 years. So Miss USA, Miss America. So basically, Donald Trump, before he became president, he owned, the USA organization, and so we were in that arena for 13 years.
He was Miss Universe owner. So to him, he was always the pageant guy.
Yeah, he was never the president. He was never the political
The
guy.
businessman.
No.
He was the
So,
pageant
so
guy.
do y'all? Since my wife watches it religiously, do y'all know the Chrisley Knows Best crew?
I met them. Yeah, they were actually the directors of my state pageant a couple of years ago. So
Cool.
that was fun. Yeah, no, I met them. They're
I've
really
seen
cool.
the show one time. I have
My wife loves it.
various thoughts. None of them very good.
Yeah,
They're
you have to remember though, reality TV, because we went to a spinoff of Dance Moms was Dance Moms Miami, and
So-
we went to their training weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's reality, but it's all planned. It's all set up. So
So
Yeah.
people have to.
So there's people in the chat who are actively hearing me pop my knuckles, if you can hear that. If you don't know, when you break your fingers enough times, your hands will just do that at will.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, fun.
It also happens when you forget to mute yourself.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks, Ross.
that's the jaw that some jackass broke. So yeah, I don't know if you have brothers, but brothers, wrestle each other, and I was always a little brother, so I always got my butt kicked. And my mom kept telling Kyle, one of these days, he's gonna whoop your butt. One of these days he's gonna be bigger than you. One of these days he's gonna whoop your butt. And the day came, and I pinned his butt and I fish hooked him. So I put my finger in his mouth and I went, and he and taps out. And I get up, I let him go, and I get up, and as I'm walking away, he punches me from behind, and now my jaw clicks all the time.
In my defense, I wasn't trying to punch him. I was trying to go around him and put him into a
Sure.
headlock to
Sure, pal.
return the favor that he just gave
Sure,
to me. I missed.
Now, to be
Ooh,
fair,
you
I've
missed.
broken his ribs. I've knocked him
Yes,
unconscious.
with a brick.
I've
Oh my god.
multiple other things. I hit him with a football from about 20 yards away in the temple, and he fell to the ground for a few seconds, and I thought I killed him.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I have picked up on, and I don't know, maybe I'm just picking up on something, maybe I'm not. Y'all answer
Kyle tap
quite
dances
often.
on next week's show, guaranteed.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Y'all oftentimes are answering simultaneously, which reminds me a lot of twins. You don't quite look like twins, but you could pass for it. Are you twins?
No.
Okay.
We're not.
But see, just like that, you know.
We're about just under 2 years.
All right, so
Okay.
we'll play the SchuBros game.
You've already given the answer away, Dilma Hazel.
Oh, I did, didn't I? So
Yeah.
So the SchuBros game is which one of us is older. Maybe they don't remember.
Maybe they don't.
What?
You know, usually I'm the one to forget, but I actually remember this time. So sorry.
So who's older?
Kyle,
I was
you're
gonna
older.
say, yeah.
Kyle. You're the older.
So Kyle is
right?
older.
Yeah.
99.99999 with a little bit of a line over it. People consider me to be the older brother, which is
No, I don't know. I don't remember. Did you guys tell us who was older?
No. Well, kind of indirectly, Ross did earlier.
Okay, I don't remember, but I would have picked you. Hands
Ross?
down. Just yeah.
Yeah. At first, it was
No,
before you-
Kyle. I said.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What?
No.
I'm more handsome. I understand.
Kyle has a baby
Hey,
face.
I got
I
more
can
hair,
tell by
too.
the way you guys communicate.
Yeah,
Oh.
interact.
So
makes
so
sense.
yeah. So it's always funny because 99% of the time. So the old story here is that one time when I was 18 and I had just started college, Kyle was 21 because he was 3 years older than me, and I went to a bar and they thought I was Kyle, so they served me alcohol. And he was supposed to meet me there, at which point I start texting him furiously saying, "Do not come here. I will go to jail." So he sat outside in the lobby and waited for me to get done. And then when I left, we slapped hands and he went and sat down in the same chair. At which point the waitress walked up to him and went, "Ah, shit."
There you go.
It was hilarious. It was pretty funny.
So we're typical Germans.
Yeah.
So dance,
There you
ballet, Chrisley knows best. You know, basically you've been on all the reality TV shows, Dance Moms, all that stuff. All right. So I mean, what got you guys? I mean, other than your channel, the Patriot Sisters. You know, what kind of shaped the way that you guys make your arguments or the way you do your content? Because like for Kyle and I, it's just about having conversations with different people. It's just about trying to see how people tick and trying to discover, if you're on the left side of the spectrum, why are you on the left side of the spectrum? What makes you want to be on that side of the spectrum? If you're on the right side of the spectrum, what puts you on the right side of the spectrum? And what for you guys, what drives your content?
That's a good question.
You want to take this?
I'll
or I
bring
can-
tag team
Cool.
it. But no, for us, we kind of everything we do, we put through a biblical lens. So everything we say and believe, we try to put through the Bible. What does the Word of God say? Because for us, that's everything. That's our core foundation. And
So if it doesn't, pass the Bible test, then we kick it out. Because
it's not worth it. But our whole
Yeah, it's
heart
not worth it.
behind everything we're doing is to ignite patriotism and a love for our country back into Generation Z and unite them with the generations who came before us, because we can't save and protect this country
if it wasn't for the generations before us doing the very exact same thing when they were our age. So it's that. And then, of course, equipping our followers, our viewers with the necessary tools to not only find their voice, but to fight back with truth in their communities and
what that looks
what
like.
that looks like, spearhead that in their personal way.
And so when a breaking news story comes out, we do our due diligence, do our research as fast as we can, and then put a video out there. Because so many times we're 19 and 21, and we see people our age completely fall short, completely blindsided, and believe the mainstream media. And we're not okay with that, because I have to live with those people.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I have to rule this country with.
And my gosh, if I'm going to have to live with them, you might as well get them educated and not indoctrinated by the public
So
system.
what would you say is the most? Because I mean, Kyle and I we're pretty active on Twitter. I'm dragging him into the flame on Twitter.
God, Lord, are you ever?
What?
Are you
So
ever?
I found
So
out
apparently,
that
if you turn your notifications on for people that don't follow you, conversations actually start happening.
Yeah.
Before, I was like, I'd make a comment and I'd never hear anything back about it. I was like, all right, no big deal. I guess no one thought I was funny or cute or smart or dumb or
They still
whatever
don't,
it may
to be
be, and I
fair.
never hear anything back. But now all of a sudden, like, I get people like reacting to me and responding to me, and I'm like, oh, can't let you spout bullshit. I've got to correct
Yeah,
you.
I've got 9 notifications right now. There's a lady here who, she's okay. So just the current one. She's a Bounty Gate truther. She's got her tinfoil on. Trump is a pedophile, according to her.
I love how they project what they actually are onto their opponents. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it really is.
Biden's a racist. Biden's a pedophile. I mean, you can't 100% prove these things, but there's very strong evidence that indicates that. And yeah, now all of a sudden, oh no, it's Trump. It is. So when it comes out that they really were the whole time, oh well, we were already used to it. No big deal.
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sums it up.
I usually just mute the I don't like blocking people, but I mute conversations, especially when they turn violent in their rhetoric. You know, they start calling. You know, I'm happy to have, and I don't get me wrong. I enjoy the Twitter troll world. I will Twitter troll people. I enjoy it. So I have a master's degree in economics. I have an MBA. I'm studying for a PhD in behavioral economics. So when it
humble brag.
Yeah,
humble
when it
brag.
comes to economic topics, I can hold my own. To say it in a nice way. So I do enjoy when somebody, you know, who has 18 followers and has been on since, you know, June of 2010 is trying to tell me all kinds of stuff about economics. And now I have 1,000 followers. I have 1,100 followers, but I am Twitter verified. And
humble brag.
let's just put it out there, dude.
Go for it.
I'm blue check mark since I had 34 followers. I don't know what you guys are all arguing about. It's not that hard.
Just run for Congress. Just run for Congress one time.
File
blue check mark.
to run for Congress. You get a blue check mark. It's easy.
Well, that's a
That's
secret.
smart.
So,
That's smart.
anywho, you know, what is the one consistent? Like, I mean, people your age, because I know what the people my age. I know the arguments they're always making. It's usually the racist argument. Trump's a white supremacist, or like the Bounty Gate one. This is the new one the left has jumped onto. The losers and suckers comment, and for me, it's every time they're making an argument, I'm able to find exactly where, in reality, somebody on their party has made that argument. So they say Trump said losers and suckers, and then we get the video of Biden calling a room full of soldiers stupid bastards because they wouldn't laugh at his joke. I can tell you, while never the vice president of the United States, because he was the vice president of the United States at the time, mad that they wouldn't laugh at his joke. I've sat in rooms with 3, 4-star generals, and they make jokes, and they expect you to laugh. And if you don't laugh, they can get upset about it. So I know what Biden was doing there. He was mad that they didn't laugh at his joke. Those guys were probably just there because they had to be there. It's not by choice.
Yeah.
You walk into the room, you've been out for 18 hours, and they go, "Hey, the general's here," and you're like,
You gotta go.
Yeah.
"Crap." So what's
What's
the biggest myth coming out of your generation?
Well, there's a lot. First off, but I think honestly, from what it sounds like, what you said for your generation, with the rhetorics for that, it's pretty similar to what's happening for us right now.
They believe America was a racist, country from the beginning.
Founded by racist people, still being ran by racist people.
The whole racism in every aspect of life, and that
privilege.
America really is the worst country on this planet, and it should be removed. Everything we know and love that makes America so great
Needs to be changed.
They feel like we need to change it, and that's part of the reason why we dived in so deep into understanding who the founding fathers were, why they created and chose the words they did.
Going back to the Constitution, reading it, understanding the people who created it, why they said certain words and whatnot,
So
and also
that's-
how the Bible incorporates into it, because people always say America is not a Christian nation, and I'm like, well,
we don't have
you'd
our
be
official
surprised.
religion,
No,
but 33% of the Constitution
Directly
or
and indirectly.
quotes the Bible.
So
And the Christian values were so instilled in who we are
It's
today.
also that whole one nation under God.
Under
bit,
God.
Yeah. So are y'all seeing an abundance of the 1619 project or critical race theory getting pushed? And which one is more prevalent?
Probably the
critical race theory, I would say, is the most prevalent one, but that's not to diminish the 1619 projects. That's still happening. I mean, it's still being used as a people's go-to, I guess, for lack of better words.
And so luckily for us, we grew up in a Christian, private school. So we had
most of the time. Sometimes I got stuck in the public school system, which sucked, but
so we had pretty good teachers. I mean, they were still pretty biased and pushed the critical race theory just slightly. But it's a total indoctrination. And I think students and college students and high school students, they're taught to, they're not questioning the teachers.
No, critical thinking is absent.
It's absent.
It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. People don't know how to do it. And it's happening at a young age. And therefore, they never develop the skill.
I would have died in today's academic standards, because I'm always been that person to question everything. Even if I believe you're right, I'm still going to question you, and I'm ask you why it is that way. So yeah, I would have been probably in a lot of trouble in today's world, because even like I said, even stuff that I believe in, I still questioned, which is why I feel like for me, like why my faith is so firm, because I literally did go and question the Bible. I went and questioned Luther's teachings and the Catholic teachings and the Baptist teachings and the Pentecostalist teachings, and came back to Lutheranism because that's what I believe to be the most relevant to what I believe. But we do have a question for you from the audience. What percentage of your age groups will actually vote? Do you have any feeling for that?
Well, it's hard because Generation Z goes down to age 5. So, and we're at the top of the generation. So not very many people, but out of that generation,
thank goodness.
It's interesting because according to media and on social media, it looks like we're all buffoons, and granted, a lot of us are. But it actually, was it PragerU who said this? With the
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Is it PragerU that said the thing that I don't know that you're gonna say?
Right?
Well, I mean,
I don't know what you're gonna say. So Generation.
Yes, you are. You're saying right now.
Well, I'm discussing. So the study came out that said Generation Z is projected to be the most conservative generation since World War II. So that's really encouraging, except most of our generation isn't eligible to vote yet. So we're not going to see that this time around. We're going to see it, 4, maybe 8 years down the road. But you'd be surprised. A lot of people who, even friends, aren't registered to vote.
No.
And they're not planning on it. But yet they're very opinionated on social media. So
we're very interesting.
Wow, now I've lost the question I was going to ask. Would you say that most of your very conservative generation is actually the silent majority? Because from my perspective, your demographic seems to be some of the most liberals people I've seen in a long time.
Well, here's the thing. We always know that the what is it? Wow. Sometimes thoughts are not my thing and words. I like to call it a total Biden moment. The ones that complain the most always scream the loudest is what I'm trying to say.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Minority, thank you. The minority is always the loudest. So of course we're gonna think, oh, Generation Z, y'all are a bunch of libtards.
But I have to tell you, the people who take the left and liberal ideologies, and I know there's a difference. People hate on me all the time for that. I'm just categorizing them all together. Those people, they're not firm in their foundation, and that's the difference. Young conservatives are firm. They're firm and they're not wavering, and that's the difference. Conservatives aren't going to go and become the other side, but the other side
will become conservative.
They're going to become conservative down the road as they have to pay taxes.
Can I interject one thing? I just saw something interesting, and I want to get your opinion on this. So C-SPAN ran a poll on Twitter asking who won the presidential debate: Donald Trump, Joe Biden, none of the above, unsure. With 313,000 votes currently, what do you guys think? What would you guys say would be the average spread, or what do you guys kind of think the polling would show?
Oh, I think it's going to say. Wait, was Wallace an option? That's first.
No, so it's Trump, Biden, none, or unsure.
Okay, I'd say Trump.
Okay, what kind of percentages would you think? 313,000 votes on C-SPAN.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Right?
I'm just gonna. Well, I don't know, because C-SPAN.
I'm gonna go out on a limb.
I'm gonna say
64.
60. Oh, okay, 60.
All right, well you're actually not bad, because right now Donald Trump has 68.9% of the vote. That he won the debate off 313,000 responses.
Oh, praise God.
Joe Biden has 18.8. None is 9.6.
Okay, now I'm gonna go look it up.
We
'cause
need
I'm
to look it
curious.
up.
Yeah, and what was it last night?
Telemundo said
had it.
Hispanics went 66%, said Trump won the debate.
Yep.
I did hear
I
that.
did see that.
That's
my
encouraging for Florida, Texas.
Oh, Florida's
California.
They're going to be red.
So I just
No,
posted
Florida
the
will
link
be
in
red.
Skype for you guys if y'all want to go look at it. There's an
Fantastic.
hour left, so make sure you vote.
Yeah, Florida. I know Florida's going to be red. We just got back from a month-long work trip in Florida because we host flag drops all across the U.S. And so being in Florida, I'm like, yeah, we're looking at
Darn, I
the poll
didn't
right
make it 69%, Ross.
So
Okay.
whenever we held the flag drops, 90% of the people who showed up were Hispanic.
Yeah.
They were Latinos. And so there's this misconception that if you're a Latino and you're
You're going to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
And
That's always been a fun one for me with how many Latinos, and I'm not saying all, but what larger percentage of Latinos are typically Catholic, which is very contradictory to their faith to be liberal. It's like
well,
they've
here's the thing.
they've got them pegged into that one issue voter, which is immigration typically. But nowadays you're starting to see more of the Latino population get to the point where like, we came here legally. What's the issue?
Yeah.
we did it. It was
Well,
hard.
Here's
but-
the thing with that, because as you mentioned, people tend to think, oh, if you're Hispanic, Latino, you'll be
More
Democrat.
yeah.
Democrat. But the thing is because if they immigrated here before they came, they're all about family.
The Hispanic
and
culture is very, because we spent most of our life living in Florida and down south. So the Hispanic culture is very much about family, God, and
those values.
So what's actually happening, I know specifically for
Florida.
Puerto Ricans who are coming to Florida, especially since the hurricanes, what's happening is that when they come here, Puerto Ricans, a lot of people don't realize this, aren't actually registered to vote. They don't have that right being in Puerto Rico, except when they come here, they have to register. So
Right.
when that happens, Democrat,
And they don't know English, of course. They're very, they don't know a lot of English. So when people try to register them,
they
which
say,
is-
you're for democracy, right? And they go, yes.
yeah.
And so they say, so you want Democrat. Democrat equals democracy. And this is what's happening because we have friends who are ahead of, Republican things.
Latinos for Trump in Florida.
And this
whatnot.
is a huge issue they're coming up against. They're
They're lying.
they're twisting the truth.
Lying to them and saying, oh, democracy is Democrat. That's what you want because the English, Spanish, it looks similar on paper and sounds the same. So they're lying to the people, registering them as Democrat, making them not making, but telling them you need to vote Democrat to continue your values in America and in the state and the homeland. When in reality they're not. They're conservative at the core, but they don't know that. But it's good to know that since 2016, more and more realizing, hey, something's not right. I think I'm actually conservative and jumping ships.
Yeah, it's getting to be pretty interesting because Texas has made the GOP in Texas, if they've done one good thing, they've made a concerted effort to go into the Hispanic communities and to really make it a moral play that Hispanics tend to be Catholics and tend to have a moral family oriented, and Hispanics are extremely hardworking. Especially I live out in West Texas. I can tell you the best thing I ever did was get a guy that works with me that speaks fluent Spanish, because 90% of the rigs I go to, I need a translator. I need somebody who can speak fluent Spanish. And this is something where
Not learn Spanish yourself?
I tried, man. I can speak enough to find the
Un
bathroom,
poquito?
get a beer, and
Un
not get
poco,
shanked.
un poco.
Yeah.
And I know that's wrong, but I like the way it sounds better.
Yeah. So the goal there is that Hispanics tend to be very hardworking. They tend to be very family oriented, and they tend to be
Absolutely.
hugely Christian. So on a moral play, we can make the argument from the Republican side. We're also starting to see a shift in Hispanics' mindset when it comes to immigration, because most of the Hispanics
already
that
hit
are
on that.
here do not have family that are currently illegal immigrants. So they're not voting for that anymore. They want to see legal immigration. They want to see families have to come here the right way, because most of them, their family came here the right way. They are legal citizens of the United States. They respect the country. They see the struggle that the people that that their ancestors had coming from these countries, and see how much better it is here for them. And especially out here, oil and gas. You start talking to guys in oil and gas industry, they hate Joe Biden. They hate the idea of Joe Biden because they work on frac crews, they work on drilling rigs, and they make a ton of money that they're not going to make anywhere else, but they can make it in the oil and gas industry, and they know that Joe Biden wants to take that away from them. And Milton Friedman, maybe you don't know who Milton Friedman is, but if you do, Milton Friedman equated economic freedom to actual political freedom. If you're not economically free, he coined the term economic slave. That if you have to vote for somebody because you're voting for that person for your paycheck, you are a slave to that person.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you have the mindset that the minority community needs a handout and they need to be cradled and taken care of because they're not as good as you, guess what? You're the racist.
Yeah,
That is the soft bigotry of racism.
You're a plank in your own eye and you don't even know it.
Exactly. It's like the cinder. Don't try to take the cinder out of my eye when you've got the plank in yours. It's so
Remember,
many
Kyle,
people try to tell me. Well,
we can't say we can't say the pot calling the kettle black anymore. That's racist.
Is that why we got taken
I'll
off
say
Facebook
I'll
last
say
week?
that, actually.
I'll say it then.
No,
I mean, we had a great stream going last week, and it just
I got in an
It's
actual debate
separate.
with a guy from the NAACP, a guy who actually works for the NAACP, about the pot calling the kettle black, and I posted an article to him from Slate where Slate even says it's not a racist term whatsoever, and you're being racist. You said the pot calling the kettle black. You're implying that black is bad. I said nowhere in that statement am I implying that the black is bad. I'm implying that it's similar. See, it's similar. They're both black. Neither one of them is bad for being black. They're just both black. It's saying that they're similar.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being black. There's nothing wrong with being white. There's nothing wrong with being brown, yellow, pink. Well, maybe
I make
purple.
the argument.
Might be something wrong, but you
Why-
might be
why-
choking.
Why can't we call people like cream?
Yeah.
Or like
This
How
is
about- how about-
American.
How about we just start calling everybody Americans?
There you go.
like this is white. My face is not white. This is white. I don't
Yeah.
know what.
You're
yeah.
peach.
I'm like a cream peach, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there's a new TikTok sound that's a rapper going, "Don't call me white no more." That's just making us racist. It's pretty good flow to it, and it's a black guy singing it.
I wouldn't know. We're banned.
Yeah, we're
No.
banned.
Yeah,
from TikTok.
you can't even view.
No, honestly,
well,
no. The
no.
app has been glitching, so
Uh,
I just haven't gotten on.
We had posted something that was too conservative for them, so we're banned for a couple weeks now.
That's interesting because I'm on there all the time making conservative comments, and
We were doing
guess I'm-
good
I
for a
guess I'm
while.
small
Nobody
enough. They don't care
watches
about
you, Kyle. So
I think we've got a target on our back
550-ish
now.
followers.
Got too big.
Thank you very
I know.
much. That's how I found these young ladies.
exactly, you followed
TikTok.
them. They didn't follow you.
Hey, by the way, when you get unbanned, come follow me back.
Okay, there you go.
So
Go.
so we
You can see my puppies.
we
Aw,
we
that's
are
so
going to be wrapping it up because girls, I know you had wanted to stick to a little bit of a schedule here, but
Yeah, we've got 45 extra minutes out of you. Not apologizing.
so we've asked you guys a lot of questions, and I always offer this to our guests at the end of the show. We've asked you guys a lot of questions. You've heard from us. You've heard us talk, but we're going to give you the opportunity to ask us a question. So I'll give each one of you an opportunity to think of a question for us about what, anything that you want to ask. Anything. There's nothing off limits. We are unfiltered. We don't care.
I got that vibe.
Yeah. So you can ask whatever you want to ask of us, and we'll answer it for you based on what the question is.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I actually had a question I was thinking of. It's not going to be some crazy cool question, but I want to know why now? Why now did you guys start this, and why haven't you done it before?
I have to change your question now. Thank
So
you.
Kyle, you want me to
Alright,
take
so-
that, or you want to take that?
I'll take
Okay.
this one. So Ross ran for Congress out in, what was it, Texas 20?
11.
Texas 7.
11.
Which is West Texas. What?
11.
Texas 11. See, if you'd get closer to the mic and talk.
11.
Thank you. So he ran for Congress out in Texas 11, where August Pfluger eventually grabbed the Republican nomination. But part of me being the older brother, and like I said earlier, I like to question everything. Even if I believe in it, I'm still going to question it. Played devil advocate to every single one of his policies, and I'd sit there and I'd just grill him on why he was believing in things that he was believing, and I would take the liberal viewpoint and come at him from that viewpoint to challenge him on his policies and see if he was really doing this because he believed in it, or if he was just doing it to kind of get his name out there a little bit, which I hope not, but some people do that.
It's a byproduct.
I got a blue check
Beto
mark out of
O'Rourke
it.
is a perfect example. So we were doing that, and one of my former Corps members, one of my upperclassmen in the Corps Cadets at Texas A&M, has a podcast with Zero Gravity Media. Reached out to me when I announced that he was running, because once I vetted him, I then announced that he was running, because I wasn't going to do so before unless he passed my rigmarole. So once he passed, I then put him out there, letting people know he was running. And one of my friends reached out to get him on their podcast. I was like, sure, I'll get y'all in contact. Well, they had him on the show. They liked him. And then whenever he decided to drop out, they're like, well, dude, you should start a podcast under our banner. And then he was like, okay, cool, but I don't think I can talk by myself.
I can.
That long. He can, don't get me wrong. So he's like, well, I'll get Kyle. We've already been making these weekly phone calls anyway. Now we can just, videotape it and put it up for the world to see. And then I was like, it would be more fun than just talking to each other, talking to other people.
Makes it more talk.
So we do still do shows on our own occasionally when we don't get guests, or we just feel like there's too much to talk about that week, that we need to be focused on what happened. But for the most part, we try to get guests. But like I said, we do still do our own shows occasionally, but the guests are a lot more fun to sit down and talk to and find out what makes them tick and why, and just have a conversation. And we've had people from both sides of the aisle on. Some of our first guests were actually more on the left side of the aisle. Ross has had some of his Twitter foes / friends come on and talk that way, long form instead of Twitter back and forths.
Get it all out.
Yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
no.
No, I love that.
Mean lady.
I love
Anything
that.
to-
Unrelated to that.
Oh, another scalp for you.
Yeah.
We also do collect scalps when it comes to Twitter.
You blocked me on
Anybody that
Twitter.
wants
I'm
us-
going to take a screenshot of your profile and post it.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
taken.
Personal pride.
Posting scalps,
Now, one last question. So have you? I mean, it's a simple question, but have you always had right-leaning views, or is that?
So I'll fill this one. I mean,
I'll follow up on
yeah,
that.
I mean, I consider myself to be socially liberal while being fiscally conservative. So while I am Roman Catholic and I'm staunch in my morality, and I raise my kids as Roman Catholics, and I teach them the ways of the church, and I teach them the ways of the Bible, I also don't believe that in our constitutional republic, because we're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. If you say democracy to me on Twitter, I will fact check you. But in our Shapiro says we can't legislate for morality, because the problem with legislating for morality is we then have to decide on whose morality we're going to legislate from, right? Morality is an abstract, or morality is not something that, you girls and us, we probably have slightly different beliefs on something, right? We can find differences, even though we may be similar. If I put 1,000 Catholics in a room, I'll get 1,000 different ideas of what Catholicism really is. Be a lot of agreement, but there's going to be differences. So the only way, that I look at things is my basic opinion of life is that we all have the right to be stupid. And I'm not saying that you're stupid or anybody's stupid. I'm saying that you have the right to do things that other people think are stupid. So I'm not going to practice ballet, and I would say, spending your life practicing ballet seems stupid. But yet you have the right, because that's what you think is best for you.
Because we did it.
And because it worked for you. It was something that, benefited you. You felt it was personally rational. So in an economic sense, the whole thing is that we have to assume people are rational. But rational is irrational. What's rational to one is irrational to another. Right? So rational just means that people work in their own best self-interest. That people are not typically going to be unselfish. They're typically going to be selfish. What I believe is we need to get back to a closed-door society as a country. We need to stop caring so much about what everybody's doing in their own home, and we need to allow them. So there's things that I don't personally agree with morally that I think constitutionally we have to allow, because At the same time that I don't think I believe homosexual marriage is a sin, but at the same time, I don't think it's my right to tell you what you can do inside your home, because I don't want you telling me what I can do inside mine. And because the Bible teaches us very profoundly that a sin is a sin, that sin is not something that us as humans are allowed to stack and rank against each other, that only the Almighty, only the Creator is allowed to dictate where our sins lie on the scale. And breaking the first commandment is not 10 times worse than breaking the 10th commandment. If you break any of the commandments, you're breaking a commandment. They are all equal. So for me, although I would, welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody who's homosexual and explain to them the error of their ways and the sin, at the same time, I have to allow them and accept that they're going to live their lives opposite of ways I agree with, and therefore allow me to live the way I want to live my life. So there are things about me and about my beliefs that are more traditionally liberal, while also I am a fiscal hawk. I believe the federal government has three main jobs, which is protection of individual liberty, protection of property rights, and protection of individual rights, property rights, and intellectual rights. That's the job of the federal government. That means they need to have a military. That means they have to have a court system, and that means they need to have laws. Outside of those things, the federal government should not be involved in our lives very much.
Yes, I would add infrastructure and stuff of that nature. So that helps protect personal property and lets you get to your private property and stuff of that nature. Myself, I grew up very staunchly Republican. My dad was one as well. Our grandmother actually was an elected Democrat for over 20 years. But she was the old-fashioned Democrat and the
traditional liberal.
Staunchly,
It's different.
So, she served as county clerk for 20 plus years while we were young. Helped her campaign, stuff of that nature. Dad was Republican. I was Republican as well. But then, when the Tea Party happened and how the Tea Party was taken like for granted / villainized, it really kind of shook me. I wasn't very happy with the way the Republican Party treated that. So for a very long time, I was a hardcore libertarian, but I've always had issues with the Libertarian Party, and that a lot of them are anarchists, and that they don't want any government at all. And while I believe in a very limited government, I believe that there are, like Ross said, some roles of government that are vital and necessary. There are necessary roles of the government.
Taxation is not theft.
It is, but it isn't. It's up to a certain point. It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was another thing. That kind of drove me crazy too. I still believe in a lot of the tenets of libertarianism, because I'm against authoritarianism, but I can't wholeheartedly agree with them on every issue, as well as I can't agree with the Republican Party for many of the same reasons. The establishment Republicans really drove me insane, but with Trump and with Cruz and a few others that are more of the old-fashioned Tea Party Freedom Caucus types that are starting to slowly take over the Republican Party and push the establishment types out, I have found myself more and more in line with the Republican Party again. So I'm not going to say I'm 100%, fanboy, but I'm definitely caucusing with them, and I'm definitely voting with them. Not on every single thing. There are going to be instances and times where I don't like a candidate, so I'm not gonna vote for them. But as long as they don't, go against my moral beliefs and stuff of that nature, they'll more than likely have my vote. But they've got to earn it. They can't just expect to slap an R next to their name and expect me to vote for them.
Yeah, one of the biggest things when I ran for Congress, one of the biggest it wasn't, once I could explain it, most people agreed. But in my congressional logo, the word Republican did not appear. It said constitutional conservative for Congress. And I felt very strongly when I was building my logo, when my advisor and I were building the logo, that I was not going to put the word Republican there, because there are things within the Republican Party that I don't agree with. And I've never been a registered Republican. I've never considered myself.
We don't have to in Texas.
I've never considered myself a Republican. I've never donated to the Republican Party or Texas GOP or anything like that. And I'll be fair, I've never donated to Trump because he's got enough money. He doesn't need my money. But, you know, at the same time, I feel very strongly about my convictions, my beliefs, and I vote for people who morally, and I've told people this, morally is where I vote. I vote for people based on what I think you're going to do, whether your beliefs align with my beliefs. That tends to put me voting for Republican. But I have voted for Democrats in the past, especially in local elections, because the sheriff of our home county was a Republican, and he was a piece of junk that left a woman to die in a flood because it was too risky for his officers to go out and save her life, even though she called him several times over the period of 4 hours and never sent anybody out to help her. So I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat. I don't care. You don't do your job, I'm not going to vote for you.
Yeah.
All right.
That is our way of hiring and firing you is through a
And
vote.
Kyle and I violently disagree on term limits.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of term limits. I agree that there should be some stipulations. Like I'm of the opinion that 18 years is the term, but sorry, 12. 12 is a number of concurrent terms you can serve in a row, but you can take 6 years off and then run again. So that way you can still get your government pension with the 20 years. But that would give senators 2 terms and congressional people 6 terms. Congress have to take off 3. Senators have to take off 1.
You lost me because you said 12 consecutive terms, and then now you're saying
12 consecutive years.
Okay.
Sorry, I misspoke. 12 consecutive years. So 2 terms for a senator, 6 for a congressional person. And then you take off 6 and then come back. But if you wanted to go from Congress to Senate and Senate to Congress, you know, you could do that, but you can't stay in the same house for too long, because that's what happens is you see people amass so many favors and so many so much power and being able to put their fingers over every little thing. And this is on both sides of the aisle. This isn't just the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi. This is the right and the Mitch McConnell as well. They've been in there for so long, and they've got their fingers on every little thing, and they've got favors they can call in on every single person that other congressmen and senators won't vote their conscience or vote the way their constituents would want them to, but instead vote the way that they're being told. And that's my biggest issue. If I'm the one electing you in Texas 17, I don't give a rat's patootie what Texas 21 thinks. You're Texas 17. You represent me. You don't represent Texas 21. You represent Texas 17. If we call you and we tell you overwhelmingly that we don't want you to do something and you still do it anyway, I'm going to primary you out next time.
Yeah.
So,
That's your
funny picture just got posted of Jake Tapper with a George Wallace for President poster behind him in his home office. So, are you familiar with George Wallace?
No.
Not really. No.
Governor of Alabama from 1950s to the 1970s. The guy who refused to allow the schools to desegregate and got the army called on him by Nixon. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, the guy. What's funny is here's one for you. When your Gen Zers try to say the Dems and the Republicans switched in the 1960s,
No.
George Wallace ran for the Dem seat as president in 1972. So that's after the supposed swap, right? So he was a Democrat up until that moment, ran for the presidency, and came very close to getting the nomination.
Wow, I did not know that.
I did not know that, but yeah, the party did not switch. We do know that.
No.
We did do a video on that one.
But Jake Tapper is seen here with a Wallace for President symbol sign right over his left shoulder while sitting in his home office. So seems weird that a guy who's on CNN would have that. So somebody said, "Oh, he just has random pieces. It's like a museum." And somebody then responded,
I don't have Nazi symbols.
Yeah.
I don't have.
well, somebody goes, the response is, Jake's office is papered with campaign posters from candidates of all stripes. It's not a statement of partisan support. It's a museum piece, a reminder of what has come before. Guess what the response to that was?
No.
Like statues of Confederate generals?
That's true.
Not in your house, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my house isn't gonna have a Confederate flag, but okay. So you know what? We are gonna get ready to call it a night, but we want to thank the Patriot Sisters so much for coming on with us. It was a lively discussion. Kyle will be tap dancing live on the show next week. Be sure to tune in.
Hell no.
Kyle will clear the room.
You raise $1,000, I'll do it.
Hey, Bill, I need $1,000. Like, I'll pitch in some, but come on, Patriot Sisters Instagram. I'm sure we can get it.
And I think I'll make it better. I'll reach out to the Patriot Sisters, who will be doing pirouettes around me, and we can split the money.
You know what a pirouette is, okay?
Kyle will wear the Mickey Mouse leotard and tutu that he wore in the original
There is no costumes involved in this.
Oh my goodness!
If you want a costume, it needs to be $10,000.
You already set the number, sir.
I think that's fair.
Then I think you're good. You're safe.
Yeah, you'll probably be safe.
So Kyle, live next week. Be sure to tune in. Tomorrow night we have Patriot J. The rapper. Next week we've got Mr. Swole himself, Mark Labalinier. I don't know how to say his name. But
I don't either.
If you don't know, he's a humongous bodybuilder, hugely conservative. The dude is ripped beyond all belief. He is a pro bodybuilder, so look him up on Twitter. The dude is massive. He's pretty funny too. I will say that. If you don't prefer some crude humor, you might not want to follow him. He is crude at times. But he's a fun dude. And
who is?
Huh?
Who isn't? They seem to be pretty. They seem to be pretty straight laced, but we're definitely crude.
We are unfiltered.
Wow.
And hopefully in this show, unmuted.
Yeah, thank God. Hopefully.
So Kyle,
we've accidentally muted a whole stream before. That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful.
So Kyle did one. Yeah. Kyle muted one that he did, and I muted one that I did solo, where I spent about an hour and a half debunking modern monetary theory in economic terms. And yeah, I watched the video back, and all I see is.
Oh man,
that's the worst.
Oh.
Happened to us, so
I'm glad this one wasn't.
So
yeah,
thank you. So guys, we want to thank everybody for coming on and joining. It was we had a lively chat over on the YouTube side. Thank you everybody who got to watch. Go follow the Patriot Sisters. Girls, where can they follow you?
We are on Instagram at the Patriot Sisters, Facebook, but where you can't search us, we don't show up, so we shadow banned on there. And YouTube.
At the Patriot Sisters.
At the Patriot Sisters on YouTube. Make sure you go follow us. We are on Zero Gravity Media on YouTube. We are the SchuBros Unfiltered. You can find Kyle and I both on Twitter. Kyle is at Kyle Schumann 08. I am at Romeo Oscar Sierra 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 Charlie Hotel Uniform Mike Alpha November November. That is again Romeo Oscar Sierra 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 Charlie Hotel Uniform Mike Alpha November November. I haven't done it in a while, Kyle. That was just for you.
I know. I was like, man, a hot minute. We both served in the military, if you didn't know or could tell. So we used phonetics. Yeah. So, and I was Signal Corps, so I definitely used the phonetic alphabet.
So Kyle is, Kilo Yankee Lima Echo Sierra Charlie Hotel Uniform Mike Alpha November Cerro 8.
Wow. You guys are on it.
So other than that, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you to the page with us. Thank you for, running down the rabbit holes that we tend to weave. We don't come into shows with a plan. We just see where they go. So we like to have conversations and just they go where they go.
I love it. And fantastic. Thank you guys so much for letting us come on. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a great conversation.
Alrighty. We are always, of course, willing to return the favor if it's ever an interest of yours. And other than that, guys, God bless you all and have a great night.
Thanks and gig 'em and God bless.
Bye, everybody.
I just keep calling on the help of my peers, but their success makes me distressed. Things will be better when I disappear, bouncing from city to state. Nothing feels great, I'm a committed disgrace. If I could get up, hold my chin up, confidence is just a bluff for the weak. Might take a peek in my self-pity to realize it's selfishness for the meek. Just take these pills and makes it better, but withdrawals will make you seize up and tweak. You gotta buy it every month, we change the brand, it's more expensive this week. I'll hold my chin up, keep this grin up like my mother, she can worry like me. just can't convince myself to look. Why can't I be strong in the place where you read your books? I just can't rely on happenstance. Didn't say goodbye before you died, I should've took that chance.